Hello, my friends, Andy and Hedia. Andy Falco Jimenez, all by himself, coming to you live from Yorba Linda, California for the living. Oh my gosh, I'm in a completely different show for the Andy Falco Show. And we're going to be talking about last night's school board meeting on June 18th for the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District. And I've gone to a lot of school board meetings over the last 4 or 5 years. And yesterday was a bit of a doozy. Now, there's been other school board meetings that have been a little bit more exciting where I was threatened to be arrested at one of them. We've had Carrie Buck just within 10 minutes of the school board meeting starting, she just unilaterally just shut it down and ended the school board meeting. So we've had other days that have been a little bit more wild than last night, but yesterday was pretty wild. So this will be just one of possibly 2 or 3 parts. And I'm just going to address one aspect of what happened yesterday. And it mostly has to do, has to do with how strangely hateful and nasty the representatives of the teachers union cabal, the cabal being the National Educators Association, NEA, California Teachers Association, the CTA, and the Association of Placentia Linda Educators, which is APPLE, APLE, and their cronies, which are the ones who show up at the school board meetings. There's about 15 of them, and I think there's some of them, some school teachers, current teachers that they've somehow brainwashed them or talked them into coming and saying just nonsense when everybody knows what they're saying is a lie. But yesterday seemed to be just really the audience on that side of the, I don't want to say spectrum because that sounds like something else, but the other side of the aisle, let's say, which is the liberal teachers union, the really crazy left wing of the Democratic Party, just seemed to be particularly off the rockers yesterday. And so I'm going to share with you a couple of their speeches, a couple of them, and I'm going to kind of share with you what's been going on and why that you can rest assured that the superintendents and his executive team and the majority board trustees are amazing, and they are doing far more due diligence than any other district leadership has done, especially at Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District in the last 2 decades for sure, because that's when my first child began going to Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District school. And then especially since I began showing up at the school board meetings, which were just zero transparency. We saw our grades and our enrollment every year going down by at least 400 as far as the enrollment, and the standards of the schools going down significantly to where we were under 50% of the children that were going through the school system were achieving their grade level of education, whether it's math or reading. And that is true. As a matter of fact, the previous board members and executive staff shared graphics saying that, and I had it up here. Where was it? I may have taken it down by now because I had to make room. Yes, I've taken it down, but it is in the 40 percentile. Here's one for California overall. In Yorba Linda School District, Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District was not much different. So under 40% or under 50%, 47% in English, 33% were meeting the minimum standards. And that, again, that's the minimum standards. I tell my kids all the time, and you guys that are watching may give me crap about saying this to my kids, but I tell them all the time. I said, if you're not getting A's, something's wrong because you're going to moron school. If you can't get A's in the climate that California school board, the education, that governs the education in our school districts throughout California, they have done such a lousy job that you see what the results are, that less than 47% are achieving the minimum standard in English and 33% in math. And you literally, and I hate the word literally, I was trying to avoid saying that, but you actually do not have to even study for the test. Many of my kids will come home from school and you'll see them looking at a book, and they'll be writing down on a piece of paper some stuff. And I say, hey, what are you doing? And they'll say, well, we're making our cheat sheet for tomorrow. I go, what do you mean you're making your cheat sheet? Like, you're telling me you're going to use a cheat sheet? No, the teacher has us write down the answers to the questions so that when we take the test, we know the answers. And that is a number of classes. And that is not, this is not hyperbole. This is the truth, that every kid that I've had go to one of the schools here in the school district can write down the answers to their tests prior to taking the test. And so that's why I tell them, if you're not getting A's and B's, I'll let them slide with a B, but it better be a B plus. But I'll tell them all the time that something's seriously wrong if you are not getting A's and B's, and particularly A's in most of these classes. So Dr. Alex Chernis and his executive staff, and then our 3 majority school board members, have done significant work in putting together programs, a curriculum, and even bringing in a charter school, and now the Universal Sports Institute to attract parents who don't want to be part of any of the school districts that are around us that are still in the sub level of education. They want to come now because of, thanks to Dr. Alex Chernis and the executive staff and the majority trustees, to a school that is on its way up. They are increasing the curriculum. They're giving after-school tutoring to thousands of kids, which I'll share with you in a minute. And all of these things are happening, and the teachers union hates it. And to say hate, I'm not even exaggerating. It is there. If there's a word that's worse than hate, that's how they feel about progress in our schools. So just to introduce you to, this is Dr. Alex Chernis. He's our superintendent, who is amazing. He's doing some amazing work in a very short period of time. Again, the teachers union has whiplash from the amount of positive influence Dr. Alex Chernis has had on this district, and the amount of programs that he has implemented in such a short amount of time, that they say, oh no, you can't do things that fast. It's not allowed for you to do things. You're not doing your due diligence. They're just not used to people that are competent and know what they're doing, and actually do contact the attorneys that are paid for by the school district and ask them, let's make sure that we're doing this right, make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's. They go to accounting, which is Mr. Stein, Gary Stein. Sorry, I always mess up his name. I'm so sorry, Gary. One of these days I will learn it. But Gary Stein is in charge of budgeting and making sure that everything is done. He is an amazing person. And what they're essentially saying is that Gary Stein is too stupid to make sure that what they're spending is coming from the right budgets, to make sure that they're not spending over the budget. They're saying that he can't do that. But yet he's probably the best in the business, and we currently have the best in the business in our school district. And so it drives them crazy that Dr. Alex Chernis, like I was just telling you, and the executive staff, and the 3 majority school board members, the executive staff, and there's more, and I'm sorry I don't have them all up here, but the ones that I hear from most in the school board meetings is Dr. Isaiah Gates, Mr. Gary Stein, and Dr. Olivia Young. And then we have our 3 majority school board members, which are Leandra Blades, who's currently the president of the school board, and then Todd Frazier, who is the vice president, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have Sean Youngblood. And then the 2 others are, unfortunately, these 2 women, Carrie Buck and Marilyn Anderson. They've gone really to the dark side. Of course, they're supported wholly by Planned Parenthood, the CTA, and APLE. And of course, I didn't have room for the NEA, but the NEA, they're part of the cabal. They're part of the cabal. So you have essentially those 2 women versus, like, what they're trying to say is those 2 women who have shown themselves to be incompetent and just not smart people, that they're saying that those 2 are far superiorly smarter than the doctors and the police officer and the accountant, who's one of the school board members, a CPA, I'm sorry, and a fireman, who was the other one. And so they're trying to say that these 2 know way more than these other, 10 total people. That these other 10 people have no idea what they're doing, and they need to be fired, all of them, because Marilyn Anderson and Carrie Buck know, what needs to be done for the school, which is essentially what's been in charge prior to the current staff that we have now, which has taken the school in a downward trajectory over the last several years. Again, losing 400 enrolled children every year while the old regime was in place. So here's just a few of the things that that was presented last night by Dr. Alex Chernis. And I'm not going to go through all of them because I'm really trying to keep this a little bit shorter than normal. But he's opened new preschools. He's increased enrollment. Of course, as we said, the only school district in the area, I think in the state of California, that's increasing enrollment, as far as I've been able to find out. They have enhanced communication. There's so many programs that they put into place. Dr. Alex Chernis has done put into place to be able to communicate with the community about what's going on and when it's happening and how it's happening, and given presentations to organizations throughout the community that they are the most transparent school board and executive staff in the history of Placentia Yorba Unified School District. They've added an SRO out of Anaheim, announced the opening of the Orange County School of Computer Sciences, established a Universal Sports Institute, and so on and so forth. There's just so many things that they've added. And Dr. Alex Chernis went through all of these things last night to make sure that everybody understood exactly what it is that they've been doing, to a level of telling them what they were, where the money came from doing all those things, and shared all the different implementations and different parts of each one of those programs and how it's helped the community, how it's helped children, and even discussed how they're even employing now graduates and children that go to the Placentia Yorba Unified School District schools, that they are now being employed by the school district. I mean, just so many programs that you look at that and you go, wow, that is fantastic. And they're all happening. These are things that are happening and within the budget that is allowed. And Mr. Gary Stein, again, later on would lay all that out in a budget that he would present to the community and to the school board. And yet we have some of these lunatics, which I've shared with you before, that just come to the school board meetings. They ignore everything they've heard up to that point. They ignore the presentation by Dr. Alex Chernis, and then they go on to say, these things that are happening are destroying our school, that hundreds of teachers are leaving, that 25 principals have been fired, which is not true. There may be one that you could say possibly that's been fired. He got walked out of the school on Friday, out of Esperanza. And so we're going to find out why he got walked out of school. I know as a police officer that anytime a police officer got walked out of the police station, he probably wasn't coming back. And there's a good chance that he might be going to jail. So I'm not sure why Jeff Giles was escorted off the property of Esperanza, but that is never really good. So the one person that these retired school teachers that come out of the teachers' retirement home that come to the school board meetings are all up in arms and crying and saying he was beloved, but yet he's walked out of the school, given the perp walk out of the school. Then you're following the wrong people, and the wrong people are beloved, apparently. And so here is what we know about the teachers' unions, the CTA progressives, the cabal. They're all for CRT, anti-education. They just simply hate a portion of our community. They call them the rich white people. They hate. I'll share screenshots of them actually saying that. DEI is what they promote. Porn in libraries, they love it. And if you say that you don't want it in there, they say you're burning books. They're all for gender confusion, which again I'll show you a video of one of them speaking and talking about this. And they don't want parents to be notified about anything in regard to their children. They want the school to have total communication with the students, but they don't want to have to tell the parents anything. This is what the CTA, their candidates like Misty Jansen and the other one, I forget her name. Somebody will post it on here, I'm sure. Will be running under that ticket where they do not want parents to be notified about their children's activity while they're at school. That somehow the teachers and the janitors have more control over our children, according to them, than we should have over our own children. And so yesterday when I was speaking, I was sharing some of the teachers unions, supporters, and some of the actual teachers union, personnel who come and speak their own words. And what they ended up doing is shouting me down as I was trying to read from social media posts what they actually write. So I'm not making anything up. I'm not pretending that they said something. I'm using their words from social media. And as I'm saying these things, they're yelling and screaming and shouting me down so that I'm trying now to talk over them. And they're saying, just yelling all kinds of horrible things. And so I'm going to share them with you today, what they were. So you can see what these people come in and they say, and they, on their social media posts, they try to say that Dr. Alex Chernis is destroying the district, that the insurrectionist Leander Blades, who's also a murderer, according to them, and the Alex Jones, Todd Frazier, and the Christian nationalists of Sean Youngblood, that they are hateful people, that they hate gays, and they run the school board meeting like they're Hitler, and they say all these nasty things. But yet, when you watch the meeting, you see none of that. And as I told you before, all these programs that are in place are all being run exactly how they need to be run under all the rules that the state of California puts in, how money should be used, and the budgets are used in a way that they are supposed to be used. Nothing's being hidden from anybody, but yet they like to come up and say that they are. And here are some of these posts that I was going to read last night. I only got through a couple of them because we only had a minute, 30 seconds. But let's start with, let's see here. We're going to Patricia Advocates, who is Patricia Hanzo, which again is a supporter of the teachers union. She writes, a few school boards are attempting to weaken, school boards meaning the trustees. And she's talking about Leander Blade, Sean Youngblood, and Todd Frazier. A few of the school boards are attempting to weaken public schools with their nonsense policies, board votes, and actions. White comfort is something that is being used to justify book bans, teacher gag orders, and the blockage of curriculum and school site programs. Again, none of those things are happening, but they get up there and they say these things and they post them on social media so that members of the community who are not paying attention, they're busy working, busy taking care of their kids, they're going to believe these posts because somebody simply wrote it. And Patricia Hanzo does it so often. Again, if I put up every post that I see of Patricia Hanzo bad mouthing the school district, the show would be a couple hours long because she does this constantly. And she's even come into the school board meeting and tried to do it, and then she gets kicked out. Let's see what this one says. This is somebody that doesn't want to use their real name, that goes by their mom. And she's talking about my kids. And she says, when you're a mediocre kid with bad grades and no college believes in Jesus, I'm sure that'll put food on their table. So the attacking of myself or anybody that is a Christian, they simply, again, their hatred gets the best of them. And they put these posts up to attack me personally and my children at the same time. This is from Your Belinda Moms, which Bonnie Conti runs, and doesn't seem to have a problem with people saying these things, but she'll kick out any conservative out of that group. Your Belinda Moms, by the way. And this one is allowed to stay. It's still up today. It says, sadly, this just demonstrates how uneducated and illiterate the president of our PYLUSD school board, Leander Blades, is. Of course, these flyers aren't coming from PYLUSD, nor are they pretending to be. The flyers urgently aim to expose the horrible impact of the current board majority, and in particular, Leander Blades and Superintendent Chernis. And what this one's talking about is that we expose them for these flyers, and I don't have one. It's on my other desk. I'm so sorry. I wish I would have had it as a QR code on it. And what they're doing is they're lettering the community, which is essentially illegal, by the way, especially when it has to do with somebody's campaign or under the guise of PYLUSD, which they're pretending. And they leave these on people's screen doors or under their windshield wipers or on their porch, and don't knock on the door, so that the person who lives there will get it, scan the code, and they will get this nonsense about Dr. Alex Chernis and the trustees destroying the school. So again, what's happening is somebody who isn't paying attention to social media, perhaps they have children in the school, because what they're using is a database of people who have children in the school, and that's the houses they're going to, is they'll look at that and they'll say, oh my gosh, I didn't know that the trustees were destroying the school. I didn't know that Dr. Alex Chernis is like a little Hitler. And so they see these things. And of course, now they are concerned. And I would, if I wasn't paying attention and that was the only thing that I saw. And so this is what they're doing. This is how they operate. But again, I showed you the list of the positive things that are happening, and they're all happening under the rules and guidelines of the school district, the state of California, and any other you know, guidelines that they may need to follow. All of it is being handled appropriately. This one right here, it just simply says on Yorba Linda Moms, again, Bonnie Conti, again, allows this. That's her name up there. And I guess it's from her original post. And it says, because our school board is corrupt as all get out. Again, it's just they love. See, you see what I'm getting to here is that you have these people, which again is there's 10 to 15 of them total in our community. They're all retired teachers or current teachers, and they love to put these words out. And again, when you put it out on Yorba Linda Moms, PYL Buzz, and all these other platforms, Instagram and X and all these types of things, then there, you know, people will see some of these coming from a few different people. Many of them are anonymous, but some of them actually put their name. There's people, again, that are going to simply trust it and believe what's happening here. Here's one that says that this is on PYL Buzz admin page, which is, again, she's using anonymous, but she's addressing Jill Maytuk and saying that Youngblood and Blade's close ally of Andy Falco, that's me, have kids at El Dorado High School, which is true. Blaze has kids at Yorba Linda High School in Esperanza. So she's telling people where our kids go. And then she says, indeed, Blades has a student at Esperanza. I believe Fraser does too. Then you have Samantha Hampton Cadra, who says, and they are awful, saying to the community that we have awful kids. So they want everybody to believe that these people that are on the school board, or me, who I broadcast about what's happening in the school board, that we can't talk about what's happening in the school because our children are horrible, according to Samantha Hampton Cadra. And then Valerie Columbi chimes in and says, whom are you referring to? Blades and Fraser? Absolutely. And again, this is per teachers, says Cadra. So somehow she's getting information from teachers. That's what she claims. And I think her husband, if I'm not mistaken, somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know 100%. One of these people that is speaking here has a husband or somebody that they are related to who is, in fact, a teacher at PYLUSD. And if that teacher is telling Cadra that our children are awful, something's wrong. And that is not right and should not be happening. But that's just, these are the things that are happening. They're attacking us in so many different ways. You got Misty Jansen, who's running for school board, she's incredibly hateful. She's a wounded duck because she ran against Leander Blades in the last election where they ran against each other, and Leander Blades destroyed her because Misty Jansen is a horrible, nasty, hateful person. And here is an example of that. Here's what she writes. They don't care. They are burning it down because that is all they know how to do. They will burn it to the ground and then take their rich, privileged kids to their classical academy to learn how to be rich, privileged adults. This is just, this is not even the worst one of Misty Jansen. I believe that she may be also going by one of those furry names, the polar bear or panda bear, or a koala bear. There's a number of these furries that have just very, very nasty comments. And this is one of them. This person has said in the past that they are an educator in the PYLUSD. And this is what she wrote about me. She writes, and Andy Falco Jimenez, who would like to sleep with his daughter. Who writes things like that? What adult goes on social media, especially a teacher in our district, goes and writes that I want to sleep with my daughter? What is that all about? Why say those things? Again, these are the people that then get up on the podium and say, oh, we're scared that we're going to get fired, or I'm speaking for somebody that's afraid they're going to get fired because they're so afraid of the nastiness of the 3 majority trustees and the superintendent. He's horrible. These are the same people that write Andy Falco Jimenez wants to sleep with his daughter. Or that Leander Blades and Todd Fraser have children in the school, and they're horrible, and mine too, by the way, are horrible children. Horrible. They're also videotaping our kids and trying to find them doing anything wrong that they can. We have an incident where one of our kids was videotaped horsing around with one of their friends, and they ended up getting suspended or detention because of what was on that video, when it was nothing more than 2 dudes wrestling around at lunchtime. But yet that more information on that will be coming a little bit later on. So that's the things I was going to read to make sure, and they hated it. Remember, the left hates hearing their own words because they sound a little crazy. So what I'm going to play for you in just a second is some of the information about what they said. Again, I like playing their own words. With us, they love to lie. They pretend that we say things. I can tell you probably 15 to 20 things that they post about me and say I said and I didn't say. They say things like, well, Andy said on a video that he keeps naked girls from the high school pictures on his computer. That did not happen. Nobody ever said that. I didn't even claim this, any of that stuff. There are pictures of kids fighting. There's pictures of a transgender boy inside of one of the girls' restrooms, fully clothed, but nowhere in any of the videos did I say that I was keeping pictures of naked teenagers from the local high school on my computer. But yet they repeat it over and over again. We know this. They're just following their leaders in the news media, who like to say things like the border is closed. And then we see video of hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants walking across the border. And yet they say, what are you talking about? It's completely closed. Nobody's coming over. They'll say things like the laptop, Hunter Biden's laptop is total Russian disinformation. And yet they use the same laptop to convict Hunter Biden with his laptop. The same one they said was Russian disinformation, and say, and continue this day to say, I don't know what you're talking about. That's not even Hunter's computer. They used his computer to convict him of a crime. And so it's crazy. Hey, Christopher, he says, thank you. You're welcome. And FJB, what does that mean? And so these are just some of the things. Okay, lastly, and again, you can see why I didn't want to go through the whole meeting, because I can go on forever with some of this nonsense. But let me play some of the videos from yesterday's meeting, and you'll find this, I'm sure, very interesting. Where'd they go? I have them queued up here. Oh, there they are. Okay, this first one is Karen Alexic, which I'm sad to say was my son's teacher last year. And if she would have spoke like this, I would have immediately pulled him out of her class. And now I wonder what she was teaching him while she was in there. Again, I know people say, pull your kids from public school. I have 6 kids. 5 of them, we pulled one because it was just best, and she's doing fantastic. She's never done better than after we pulled her out of this Joey Davis's El Dorado High School at a time that Joey Davis was still principal over there, and he just was not keeping children safe there. And I had no choice. We had no choice but to pull one of our kids out of there, and because it just wasn't a good place for her to be. And so she has thrived since we got her out of the environment that Principal Joey Davis had created at El Dorado High School. And she's fantastic. She just got baptized the other day. She's doing amazing. And so, but my son at Brookhaven Elementary School was the student, this teacher. I'm going to have you listen to what she has to say. And I'm going to give you heads up. She praises and quotes Taylor Swift, that apparently she's an admirer. This woman's like 60 years old. And so her God is Taylor Swift. And she says so during this speech. If I would have known this, I would have pulled my son out of her class. This is really something else. Here she goes. Karen Alexic.
Hi, my name is Karen Alexic. In the eloquent words of Taylor Swift, long live all the magic we made. The magic made for public schools in our state started when the California Teachers Association was founded in 1863. Let us reminisce on the magic that the teachers and the unions create every day in our schools, fostering an environment where students can flourish and thrive. Just like in Taylor's song, Long Live, teachers' unions are the united teachers who stand up for educators' rights, ensuring they have the resources and support they need to provide the best education possible for our children. As Taylor reminds us in Fearless, you're not scared to lose face if we want to make mistakes. Teachers' unions provide a safety net for both teachers and students, advocating fearlessly for policies that promote learning and growth. They create an environment where educators feel supported in taking risks and trying new approaches, ultimately benefiting the students they serve. In Mean, Taylor sings, "Someday I'll be big enough so you can't hit me." Teachers' unions are the voice that stands up against bullying and unfair treatment, both in and out of the classroom. They fight tirelessly to ensure that every student feels safe and valued, creating a nurturing environment where learning can truly flourish. In conclusion, let us celebrate the invaluable contributions of teachers' unions to our schools and communities. They are the guardians of education, the advocates for change, and the champions of student success. I encourage you to check out CTA.org for a more thorough history of CTA's advocacy. As Taylor Swift's music inspires us to shake off the challenges we face, let us also draw inspiration from the tireless efforts of teachers' unions to create a brighter future for all. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. She quotes Taylor Swift something like 4 times and uses it to promote the horrific policies that CTA promotes across the state. We've seen nothing but a decline in our education here in the state of California, which again, I shared with you already. I'll just do it one more time. This is where we're at. And again, she's promoting the very thing that is causing our children not to be educated. Under 50% can actually read English at the normal standard, and math is at 33%. 33%. They can't spell. They can't graduate, but somehow they're still graduating, these kids, even though they can't read or do math. This is what she is. It any wonder that she uses Taylor Swift as her god, apparently, to promote something that is just simply not working. When you go to the NEA and CTA's website, they want you as a teacher to use these cards with this QR code so that you can scan that code as a student and get and learn how you can transition. And that where it's say, here's what it actually looks like. Proudly supported by NEA. Oops. It's that CTA is on there too, and this is something that the APLE is also on their website. The NEA and the CTA. This is what they're promoting. They're so busy with this nonsense that they've forgotten to educate the kids. You can see it by the stats. It's incredible. And yet, and this teacher, my son was in her class for an entire year. It really is shocking. It's shocking. I don't know what else to say. It just is really, really crazy. Okay, so the next dude comes up. This is a guy who really is, I guess I don't know if he's the leader. I hate to give him that kind of title because he's off his rocker. But Sam Ayovich, I guess that's how you say it. Sam Ayovich. He, wow. He just goes off on a tangent about the bill 1955, which is against parental notification. So again, these are the people that are supporting Misty Jansen, and Quintero is the other person running. These are the people that they love and support, and they love them. They don't want parental rights. They don't want parents to be notified. They love boys in the girls' bathrooms. They love boys competing against girls in girls' sports. They love CRT, which is essentially hateful. It hates it. She talked about how, we just need to love each other. But yet you saw in their posts, these are the same people that say that white people are horrible, that rich kids don't belong in our schools, that they need to go back to Europe. That's something that Misty Jansen posts in one of her posts. Misty Jansen says that white people need to go back to Europe. What color is Misty Jansen? She's white. So I guess she would be going back to Europe. But this is really, truly who they are. And I'm so sorry. One of my kids is calling me. Of course, they always do this. Only when I'm live do they decide that they want to try to get a hold of me. I have no idea why that is. And so this is Sam Ayovich, who is going to tell you how important it is that we transition all of our children. This is Sam's goal. And again, this is a man. This is one of the things that shocks me, is that you have men that are actually for the destruction of children, that they love having boys and girls bathrooms, that they love having boys compete against girls and hurt them seriously to where they get concussions and broken bones and broken noses because simply they're going against a man. Our girls in high school should not be competing against men. That should not be happening. I know you would think like, really, we have to say that? Yes, because Sam Oyoyevich thinks that it's perfectly fine. Here he is.
And I'm not sure if Ando...
Ando was removed.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
My name is Sam Mayovich. I'm a retired PYLUSD educator, and I am speaking in support of Assembly Bill 1955. We know that LGBTQIA identities and behaviors permeate the order of nature and are thereby part of human nature. We know that variants of some world religions reject the notion that LGBTQIA individuals are part of the natural order. We know that there are parents who, for religious or other reasons, are unwilling to accept or even love a child who identifies or behaves as transgender or non-binary. We know that many transgender and non-binary youth feel their homes are not gender-affirming and that forced outing policies operating under the guise of parental notification increase teen suicides. We know that counselors in the PYLUSD may have to make excruciatingly difficult decisions about when and how to break the bond of trust and confidence placed in them by students when deciding whether to bring parents into a conversation about gender identity and sexual orientation. We know that dishonest politicians promote the lie that there is a liberal conspiracy in the field of education encouraging young people to question their gender identity and sexual orientation. We know that this appeal to ignorance, fear, anger, and hatred can be an effective political tactic. Assembly Bill 1955 will make it more difficult for malicious school boards to play political games with the lives of non-conformative youth. It deserves the full support of people of conscience.
That man is off his rocker. I've never seen somebody so crazy get up to a podium and spew such nonsense. A number of us are Christians, strong Christians. My wife and I do a podcast called Living Fearless Devotional, as I tried to announce that we were on earlier. And of course, they mentioned it before, but Leander Blades and Todd Frazier plays in the worship band at my church that we go to. He's a drummer. I'm sure he plays all the other instruments too, because he's an incredibly talented man. And then you got Sean Youngblood, also a Christian. So what they love to do is attack us because they think that we don't, that we hate LGBTQ, people that are gay, I guess. I'm not sure what all the letters mean. You know why? Because I don't care. I don't care. I don't mind. I don't, you want to be gay? Be gay. I know the Bible says it's a sin. The Bible says, becoming drunk is a sin. The Bible says gambling is a sin. All these things are sins. All of us are sinners. And so that is the only, what we can't speak the Bible and say that, well, it says it's a sin. It also says when I cuss, and I shouldn't cuss, but I do, it's a sin. And that's all there is. My aunt and her, it wasn't her wife because they didn't have marriage back then, but my aunt in the 50s, before I was born, in the 60s, had this relationship with we called her my Aunt too. Her name was Aunt Joe. Her name was Joanne, but we called her Aunt Joe. That's what she wanted to be called. We weren't making fun of her. But Aunt Joe and Aunt Betty were lesbian. And they would come over to the house and they would stay in my bedroom and I would sleep on the couch while they were over. And we loved them to this day. When I was a little kid, I was like, I don't know, when I first realized they were gay, I think I might have been like 7 or 8. I think my mom might have told me, or I said, how come Aunt Betty and Aunt Joe sleep together? And they go, well, they're a couple. And I go, oh, and like the kid, my son Bo was on not too long ago. He says, what do I care? We don't care. But they so badly want us to, I don't know what it is they want. They just want to destroy these school systems and put more focus on something that just simply doesn't matter when it comes to education. It may matter to them, but it can matter in their homes and in their families. And the parents should know about this. He's talking about something that is such a minute part of our community. And it is a thing, but it's a minute part of our community. Even smaller are the parents who aren't supportive of their children being gay. Now, I have a story. I have a daughter who for a period of time thought she was a boy because the counselor at her old school where she used to go told her, well, your depression is because you are in the wrong body. I know you're born as a girl, but you are a boy. Go to this TikTok or go to this Instagram and you'll see other children who are struggling with the fact that they were born in the wrong body. And of course, my daughter goes, all right, that sounds good. And she thought, oh, it must be true. I am now a boy. And so she wanted to be called a boy. And so we pulled her out of that school, not because we hate our daughter, because we love our daughter. And we know that she, all her entire life, she dressed as a girl, acted like a girl, played with girl toys, and was a girl. And we knew what was happening in the school, that somebody not related to us had talked her in, because she told us, had talked her into this idea that she must be in the wrong body. And that she should now identify as a boy. And so this went on for about a year or two. And we just continued to call her by her name. We didn't call her by Johnny or Freddie or whatever it was that she wanted to be called. I can't even remember what it was. And we continued to pray, and we kept telling her, no, you're a girl, sorry. But it wasn't out of hatred, it was out of love. And we never kicked her out of the house. We did not feed her. And she was, in fact, struggling with depression and a whole bunch of other things. And guess what? Over a period of time, we got her out of the situation where this counselor had talked her into being a boy, and it was a Christian school, by the way, just to let you know that part of it. And you know what? She turned back into a girl. It was crazy. Because the people that were trying to influence her, and we took all of her social media away, we did all those things, and people are going, oh my gosh, I can't believe you took a child's social media away. Yeah, I'm not giving cell phones to my kids either. And so and that's what we did. And so we took away all the social media. We prayed, and we did not give up. And we loved her, and we hugged her, and we paid attention to what was going on with her. She had issues with cutting herself and a whole bunch of other stuff. But at some point, the cloud lifted. She went back to dressing as a girl, and she's a beautiful, beautiful woman that we love equally now as when she was acting as if she was a boy. Nothing changed, Sam, you nitwit. I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to not call people nitwits, but he is crazy. Let me just share some other stats. These are from these stats are from studies that I found, and I so wish that I would have put the sources. I will find the sources. I don't want people to accuse me of making stuff up, but these are definitely, you can look these up and you can find them yourself. But it says this is credible and available evidence that indicates there is no evidence that transgender medical treatments reduce the psychological distress and mental health issues associated with gender dysphoria. There is no long-term investigation into the psychological or physiological consequences of transgender medicine performed on children. There are significant health risks to transgender medicine. Some of these include cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, and blood clots. And lastly, again, one of Sam's points that he brought up is completely untrue. He is lying to you. He doesn't have any proof of this, but in a 30-year longitudinal study, gender reassignment surgery patients had a 19 times higher rate of completed suicide than the general population. So Sam, you are off your rocker. You just need to stop. He won't though, because these videos that I do and I share this information isn't for them. They will never change. There are hateful, nasty people that are promoting the destruction of children through this ideology that does not belong in our schools. Again, you can do all you want at your own home, but you're not bringing these ideas into our school to affect, like my daughter was affected by bringing this nonsense into a school where it doesn't belong. Teach my kid how to read, teach them how to write, treat them how to count, and teach them how to think. Those are the things that we want from our schools. We don't want them to be taught any of this nonsense, this indoctrination, or teach them what to think. We don't want to teach kids what to think. We just want to teach them how to think, how to process, how to critically think, and use the common sense. But man, that dude is off his rocker. He is crazy. Sam, oh yeah, bitch. Don't know what happened to him as a child. Again, he was a teacher in PYLUSD, and he was teaching kids, much like Karen Alexic. I can never say her name. For a year, I could not say her name. But these people are teaching our kids. again, the majority of our teachers in our school district are amazing, fantastic teachers. The teachers union has infected our schools with bad teachers, a few of them, a few bad teachers, again, bringing in our policies. And these are the people that stand up and cite Taylor Swift as their source of information from her songs that she writes. Incredible, Karen Alexic, that you can you imagine. She's 60 some odd years old. She's citing Taylor Swift. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. I have a video of Misty Jansen that I will share on the next show. I'm just going to create one show for Misty Jansen. She is a hoot. But she got up right after Dr. Alex Chernus talked about all these amazing things he is done, along with the school board trustees support and his supportive team, who are professionals in budgeting, in accounting, and they have attorneys that know the law inside and out. And they do everything by the book. And yet Misty Jansen comes in and says, I know better than you guys. I'll tell you guys, and you're destroying our school by making it better. How dare you make our school better? I had an amazing quote that I can't find when I went live. I was trying to find it, but I got a text from somebody that said they watched the meeting last night, and oh my gosh, I wish I could find it because it is perfect. They just said, who are these people, these old people that say that they're retired teachers? Who are they? Because they're crazy. They just yell and scream and they laugh. And they talk while people are talking. They giggle when Dr. Alex Chernus is talking. When Gary Stein was talking, they were sneering and making noises and grunting and groaning noises. It's a demonic behavior that these people have. And the message that I got, the text message, was like, wow, that was really. It's scary. And they said it's scary that these people, some of them, are teaching our kids. These people that are just nasty, childlike in their actions, were quickly noticed by the people that have not normally attended our school board meetings and said, wow, I had the wrong impression. I was listening to what people were saying, and I thought it was Dr. Alex Chernus that was causing the problems, and I thought it was the three trustees. And it turns out when you go to the school board meeting, you actually see these lunatics at work doing the things that they do and just lying through their teeth about everything and pretending what they're saying is fact. Hundreds of teachers are not being fired. Again, I think one principal, in fact, who didn't have his contract renewed, 5-0, by the way, Carrie Buck and Marilyn Anderson also voted not to have Jeff Giles contract renewed. So they agreed that whatever he was doing is what caused him to get escorted out of Esperanza School on the last day of school, was bad enough that he should not return. And yet you got the teachers union coming in there and saying, oh my God, Jeff Giles, he was amazing. He was beloved. And people are so upset and this is crazy. Alex Chernus needs to be recalled or fired or whatever they want to. They have all these different things they want to do to him. They want to hang Dr. Alex Chernus and they want to just do nasty things to these other trustees. And then yet the guy that they love was escorted out of Esperanza School. Do we know why? I have a hint as to why I think is what happened, but again, this is just through rumor mill. But my rumor mill so far has not served me wrong. I have been given some pretty good information from people that work at Esperanza about some of his shenanigans. Hey, Joseph, nice to see you. Thank you. You're welcome. So make sure and share this video out to some of your people. I know I shouldn't call nitwits or crazy people. I know, but it gets the best of me. When somebody is attacking children and families and parents, it should make you mad. It should get you riled up, and it should cause you to want to get up and fight back about some of this nonsense. Again, I know some people just don't have the, I don't know what it is, but they don't have the heart to look at somebody who cites Taylor Swift as their source of inspiration for truth, yes. And they use song quotes. Again, you know, these song quotes are just made up, like while they're in the bathroom or in the shower. These aren't smart people. You know, again, Taylor Swift's making billions of dollars. She knows how to write songs that people like to sing. That is fantastic. She's made some pretty smart decisions when it comes to the music industry. That's all fantastic, and she's great at that, apparently. But she's not running our school. She's not the superintendent. She's never you know, taught in a classroom. I have taught in classrooms, several of them. I've taught adults and I've taught high school kids. So I know some of these you know, some of this information I speak about, I know from experience myself. And so Taylor Swift, I'm pretty sure, is not going to be one of my sources for deciding on whether or not to vote for somebody for school board. But I would use that information earlier in the year to pull my kid out of her class. That's the person teaching my 6th grader so that he can go and move on into middle school. I just wish I would have known before. We went through a whole school year with that woman. But thank you, my friends. Again, you want to make sure and understand who it is that's supporting the school board members. There's only one choice. You got Ryan Miller, who's running for school board here at Placentia Yorba Unified School District. He gets a vote, a yes vote. And you got Maria Stubbs, who is amazing. Maria Lupita Stubbs. You're going to want to make sure and get to know her. She is fantastic. We have a campaign party coming up pretty soon. I'm not sure if it's something I can share right now because I'm not sure if everything's been solidified, but it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. And when I get a chance, I'll be interviewing her and Ryan Miller so you can get to know them a little bit better. But they're amazing. They love to promote education for our kids. They want to protect kids. They want parents to be well aware of what's happening to their children when they're at school. And that all makes perfect sense. They want kids to learn how to read, write, count, and think. What else do you need? Keep it simple. All the other stuff, nah, we want out of our schools. All right, my friends, I hope this has been helpful. Again, this is part 1 of a recap of what happened at the school board meeting last night. And I hope it was helpful for you to understand some of the things that are happening. And that is it. All right, my friends, love you guys. God bless. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye.